do I need to do to be on the account? Because nothing has gotten done to this point, so I think I can go back 7 years at Wells Fargo and look.
Well, the foundation was only put in place.
I don't know when that account started though, so we'll see.
June, you know, it's scary though, because the second time I was on, I actually was the person that went to Wells Fargo where I was signing checks. That's scary. Maybe I signed something on the postal sign.
Maybe I'm gonna find your name.
Oh, man. Because that was kind of a time that was, there's a lot of, see, after all this happened, that's when a lot of questions started coming up. Where's all this? Where this, you know, there's no receipts to back up this, you know,
Well, that'll be
because
in my
we went
little
way over that
research.
budget, you know, and oh,
Yeah,
you know,
we'll see.
so it's like, wow. You notice when he asked about treasure, you notice how I didn't rush into the.
Well, I didn't rush either. She was voluntold.
Wells Fargo's got my name already over there.
Well, like I told you guys
We'll see
before,
what
we need to
research.
know what we can do, what we can't do, and anything keep me out of going to jail. So
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Boy, you're doing a fine job over there, Jim.
I was gonna say, so
Figure it
if
out.
I go to jail, you go to jail with me? Is that how it goes?
We'll visit you in prison and bring you a cake with a file.
Just make sure that the minutes show that we did, our first action is that we're gonna buy some paint and whatever supplies that painter needs to go paint that concession
I mean,
stand
you
that's
can
out
see
there.
there's on check.
Pending approval from the city manager or whoever.
Doug, can we put some serious pressure on them to get some answers to some of these questions? Because it kind of feels like the last few meetings were just stalling. I mean, we're just.
I'd be willing to bet you with a $166,000 insolvency in FY 11 and FY 12, there's $355,000. There's some other stuff about ready to hit the fan, I'm told, dealing with more debt that
They're
had
the
to be
least of
paid
their
public.
priorities.
And I think that they're pretty busy with other things, but I can't, like I said, I'll come in tomorrow morning, be here at 8 o'clock, and if I can sit here all day waiting on, if I can see him, if I can't see him, then the mayor will talk to me. It's just like I've been trying to get the no-kidding contract for the Little League. I left a voicemail for Alex, and even asked if he would see if Stephen would mind coming and talk to us. And then I was advised that probably was a bad idea, that I probably ought to do it 1v1 with him, because he may not. It'd be sort of like that Blazing Saddle. If in fact he took the job and then just let it follow to getting this picture taken with that big check.
Do everything that we do, like with the fundraisers, so do we have to go to the council for that?
I don't believe so.
I think we have to go through them for what we spend it on.
The only thing that I think that we have to go through is because I believe that the dollar amount that goes into the special fund is budgeted.
Okay.
Therefore, for that money to be expended, there has to be a budget amendment that has to go from Andy to the council.
Okay. So when we were sitting here brainstorming, we actually, I say, if Cindy has some ideas of fundraisers, she can actually work on it, or
Yes.
you don't need any.
No, we don't.
We still
go
need to
the
talk to the
council.
board, though.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we probably can make faster progress than the city council can.
Doug, do you
Did
think
I
we
say
can?
that out loud?
So even if we want to hold a fundraiser, we still have to go before the city council.
I don't believe so.
We don't think we do.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
Okay,
So
okay.
we're not
I'll
bound.
ask
We'll
that
make
question.
sure.
Just to spend money, I think,
Okay.
right?
Why don't we get that
Can we-
clarified?
That 27.
Yeah, we need to clarify, but if we can, then we can go on, we can start.
Mhm.
You know, because like I feel too, you know, we're sitting here, we got a lot of ideas, and this and that, but we still got things not signed, we got this, you know, and then once we find out if we can go, how far we can go and do this, because we're running out of time. I mean, yeah, you know, we got good ideas, just go for it, you know.
Can we work on the flyer for the Easter, just to let people know we're here and kind of what we're doing type flyer? I know we're not really doing anything
Be for the Easter?
for Easter,
That's
yeah.
something that, like, you wanna make up and you wanna print out like a sample and maybe approve
Yeah.
it at the next meeting?
Well,
Well,
the
no,
next
Easter's
meeting.
That's what I'm saying.
We can make
Yeah.
a motion and second it now to make a flyer.
Well, remember, according to this, that you're supposed to have read, that we're gonna work on here in a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Anytime y'all feel that we need a special meeting,
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
then all you gotta do, if you want a special meeting, you have to personally contact the remaining directors.
But we can approve a
And-
flyer now and
Right,
just,
sure.
and then just email it back and forth for
Yeah, we don't,
fine
that's what I
tuning.
said, we can
We
save
don't
time by
need
doing
to.
it now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
we don't
another
have to
thought,
have a-
since you're talking about flyer, what do you think about a foundation letterhead?
I think that's a great
And if we
idea.
could come up with either a motto, like the city on the
Or add a
insolvency
survey to the
plan,
bottom.
they're using Andy's I built, that was stuck on there. We could come up with our own little logo motto.
I think if we come up
We
with
wanna
a
do
little
it.
logo,
But
that'd be
if
nice.
you can think of some kind of design or whatever, I've got some software and a bunch of business card things that we could give each, if we just, print them out.
And then that would, on invoices and everything, once we start fundraising, I can put that on there as
If
well.
we walk in to see the manager of
That way I have
a
something to hand
furniture
them.
store, or if we go down to,
We could do a letterhead too with some kind of little survey, tear-off survey at the bottom or something where people could maybe, I don't know, maybe at the parks put a drop box or
Yeah,
something
things
where
to
they
work
can
on.
stuff
That's what I
them
thought
there.
drop
That's
box
a
when you
great
said that.
idea.
Suggestion.
I mean, that's like a suggestion box where they can put them in.
What
you
are
know,
we
a
getting the
sugge-
most suggestions on?
Yeah.
We know what to work
And then we
on
know
and
what to look at and,
prioritize.
well, we know what this, we know what the community feels is a priority. That way we're being good stewards with their.
well, Alex would be another person that might would have that. I may already have one
Have one left.
Have one left.
suggestion box.
I don't think so.
If so, it's the best, most hidden.
Yeah, I don't think there.
Yeah.
Quick note also relating to paint, I remember Mr. Trevino saying that he had a lot of paint somewhere, but I don't remember what color it was, that we might be able to have.
That's right, 'cause they use it in the pecan part.
I don't remember what color it was.
One of it seemed like was the same color as the Wildcats. That's what that big conduit, or,
So it's like maroon.
The pipe, yeah, so it was like a maroon color.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a lot of different colors.
Yeah, I just
in their
really,
library.
I think that we need to do our own colors and have them available to paint with and approve and that nobody can paint except with those colors. That's my opinion.
Yeah, we need to get a plan.
Because it's,
Because also, there's big
Otherwise,
storage units
it's-
out there. There's these huge storage units. I don't know if y'all saw in the pictures, but when nobody's at the park, in the parking lot, and you're looking, you're like, there's the Wildcat one that has been there, and when you're between two fields, you can't watch the other game, because there's big storage units there.
Right, that big.
Little
one.
League has a green one. It's not
there's
as
a couple.
bad, but it's in back of the backstop. So if you're coming from the concession stand, you're trying to watch a game, okay, it's right there on the major field.
there are those connexes.
Then there's one sitting out by the new pavilion, out in the parking lot, over there. Let's see, then we have little other buildings that aren't, as bad. Am I missing?
But they're all
any?
different colors,
Yeah.
all of them.
Well,
And they're just
Wildcats has
huge.
got a lockable ladder where I guess he gets up and monitors the kids playing football from on top of that one box.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe he can
Where
buy
the
a
kids have got the
stand.
two little soccer fields now, I guess they're out there. But when they got the Wildcats out there, they use that.
Oh, I've never
big
seen it work
area.
for a while.
Mm.
I
Well,
think I took it, oh, here, yeah, I see it.
I know the,
Yeah.
Boys and Girls Club, Wilson County, I think it's the one, they use that metal building that's there in that parking lot,
Oh, yeah.
right next to the highway. They put all their soccer stuff in there.
Oh, yeah, and see, that one didn't look that, like, that one, and then Little League has two little gray ones, they kinda, but these are just,
Yeah, that big
they look like
connexes.
18-wheelers, they
I
just
know
park
that.
there.
They're like
Yeah.
shipping
Seen
cargo
around.
containers.
Yeah.
If they were like moved Little Leagues and Wildcats to one area with, because there's three of them sitting out there. There's a Little League, a Wildcat, and then there's one that's over by the new white pavilion. If they could be just kind of put together.
That's why I like the Boys and Girls Club, way theirs is way over there in the edge of the parking lot.
It is way over there.
mhm.
So, and that one, I mean, it's not atrociously big either, so it doesn't just, the other ones, it's just, it doesn't look very nice when you come to the
I
park.
agree.
And why can't it all be, like she said, together instead of, they just put them
Yeah.
wherever they feel like putting them.
Oh,
They're
there's
just
the
thrown
Ansera
everywhere.
one. Okay, then there's another,
Across from the concession stand.
yeah, on the little Pee Wee field, there's Ansera has their billboard, that's why I call it the Ansera one. There's a blue-gray building in back of that backstop. It's on here, yeah.
Which is
so-
fine, and the Ansera sign is fine.
Well, we can move the
But they
sign, but-
need to be all, I think, the same color. Well, I mean, you can't paint those metal things, because they're running, I guess, but.
Well,
Yeah,
what
they're just all sitting everywhere, and once you start looking, they're just dotted. I mean,
Especially
Well,
I
around-
just think
where-
they could be nicely put
Right.
somewhere.
I like to have them along that fence, like that one building is Boys and Girls Club, it helps block some of the road noise from the traffic.
Okay, well, that.
Cause you're out there, you can hear those 18-wheelers going by, and they're, some are really loud.
Mhm.
Well, when you're
Especially
walking
now.
from the parking lot toward the concession stand, you got the big field with the sinkhole problems.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big open field that I was told where the
Soccer?
Wildcat guys use through there. And then their big connex is right next to the little short field that would be, as you're
That's
again
this
walking
one.
from, as you're walking
Mhm.
from, because on the little field side of that connex, there's a ladder that's locked up,
Right.
and you unlock it, and that's where I guess, what's his name, Bronson?
Yeah, it's Bronson.
Yeah, well, Bronson, I think, probably gets up there and he coaches the plays or whatever they're doing. When I first, so the band comes out here and marches, and the band director gets up there and sees what the formation looks like.
Well, there's a problem with that being there also, because when you're in fall ball, baseball, and Wildcats is out there, they use that road to the concession stand, they drive down it, and they pick up all their equipment and load it back in this Connex or whatever,
Yeah.
and they drive. Okay, there are kids over here playing fall baseball. When we play baseball, those gates are locked. You're not supposed to drive unless you're dropping off concession stand stuff, and then you exit. Those Wildcats, they park all right there because the gate's left open. They go put their equipment up. I mean, we've almost had kids literally almost get hit because that's a concern. Maybe if they moved it,
Right, not gonna be there.
they're not gonna have to drive right there. I mean, yes, they can get it out to the fields, but there's other ways. They don't have to actually use that right of way where everybody's walking. I don't know, we all need to work together. I don't know.
I think somebody,
Definitely agree with us.
Oh, Michelle's got some good notes.
Well, not really, because it's just kind of.
Well, I got a bunch of notes.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back to review. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna try to get to talk with Andy. Find out why the state of Texas doesn't have the Foundation IRS 501c paperwork.
Or do we have a signed copy? We need a signed copy,
What I'm saying.
because we do not have
Okay,
a
so
signed copy.
if the answer is he doesn't know, then do you have a signed copy?
Mhm,
Can we paint the concession stands, because you need to know that part of
mhm.
doing it. Fundraiser, do we need the council's approval, to spend money that we raise? Talk to Alex about a suggestion box. Does the city have a paint plan? Do we have to have an approval from somebody within the park department to paint what's out there at the park? Connex locations,
And then, one more, can I add one more to that?
whatever.
If somebody approaches Andy and it's written in our, it's in the Little League agreement, I don't know about Wildcats, because I don't think they have an agreement. If they want to place something or put something somewhere, you know, if we have to ask the council on things, and they only have to ask Andy, is there any way Andy can consult with us? Because what if we have a plan and we're working on things, and then he gives approval for something to be somewhere, but there's no communication?
I think I can answer that.
Okay,
Sunday, I was advised that on the first meeting in April, that all of the organizations within the city structure, the city minister is required to give a briefing to the city council. And I was told I would probably end up giving that briefing on what we've done thus far.
but anybody that approaches Andy, he has to, because Little League
They
right
have to get
now,
approval.
Little League
Well,
can go
right
to
now, we've got
Andy,
enough-
and
we-
Andy can give approval, and they can go do it.
Mhm.
Like the batting cages,
Yeah,
which
well,
is
what I'll
wonderful,
talk
but-
to him and make sure that we're coordinated on any outside agents, facility improvement.
right,
with-
right, just because if we have a master plan and we worked and we thought of all this stuff,
Andy
and
gets
then,
all the use approval too without ever asking.
but you know what I'm saying, and then, oh, what, we had something that was gonna go there, well, you know,
And
that,
something else
Well,
comes up.
it may very well be in Alex's bailiwick too, as being the supervisor of the park recreation
yeah, it says
department.
city manager though, so I think
It
it
says
says city
here in this
administrator
thing,
manager.
any improvements to Little League or softball fields or any other city park have to be approved in writing by the city administrator and the public works director with detailed plans submitted specifying the desired improvement and proposed cost to the city, if any.
But we don't have a public works director, I
So
understand.
it does, we're not included in that loop there. So that's why I see what she's saying,
Yeah,
that they can approve something and it's a go, and then we don't know about it until it actually shows up, and they're like, we were gonna do whatever.
Are we already allocated? for it?
Right.
Right.
But then now we have Alex on board, so why can't we allocate that, I mean, like, anything that they do, they notify
Meet with them.
Alex?
But Alex isn't always gonna know, because if Little League wants to put up something,
Oh,
or
yeah.
Wildcats wants to do
Yeah.
something, they're not gonna contact Alex, they're gonna contact Andy.
Andy.
Yeah.
We just.
Honestly,
We don't
basically,
need to give approval, we just need to be like a CC.
yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Get a carbon copy of whenever something's approved, just let us
That's
know.
what we need to find out.
But
how
what if
that
we already
plays.
allocated funds, and then it's like,
Oh, that's right.
oh,
I
you
think we
know,
actually need to be part of the loop.
I, yeah,
Yeah.
cause that could get a little,
Yeah. That would probably be the best.
Honestly, that contract needs to go away, and something that really kind of makes sense.
Well, that's what
well,
I,
for
that's what I
both
said
parties
too.
though,
Yeah,
for both
parties.
parties,
Well,
cause
to
it's
protect
kind of
everyone.
gray.
Because
Yeah.
remember, I think at the last meeting, I even said that I would like to get, what's his name, Fulmer?
Bronson
Bronson
Fuller.
Get him and, Wynn in here,
Mhm.
and y'all said, no, you don't. But,
It would be fine.
It would be fine.
but I mean, even the mayor even pointed out that not only the city soccer folks, but I guess there's a statewide, whatever, that organization that uses some of the Masonic fields on Saturdays.
Who?
I don't know.
She said just more than whatever the city runs.
I just recently found, you know, with Bronson, you know, it's like, I just recently, at a city council, when I introduced them too, you know, I was talking to him, I didn't know really who he was, and we get talking. But anyways, this year, I was doing the scorekeeping for the JV basketball team when they had a home game. And twice I ended up working with Ms. Fuller, which I didn't realize was his mother.
Mhm.
And that was a challenge. I spent the whole game trying to make her smile one time.
Bronson's, it'll
But
be
he's
fine.
something like, you know, I could get him a little bit, but the mother was really hard to get to smile.
Yeah.
She
He's
does
easy
not,
to work with.
she's very
and-
serious.
Yeah, he's easy to work with.
Yeah,
so
he's
I
a little
think
bit
he
better, but yeah, but oh, man, when I found out it was your mother, I said, oh, yeah, she's a nice lady, but, I mean, I had no trouble with it, just that I just wasn't used to working with someone that's so serious.
Yeah.
You know, she really is. She takes it like, it's her life, you know, like, don't ask me no questions. I said, well, I just started this, you know, I don't know. You know, nobody schooled me on the scoreboard, you know, and here I am, you know, trying to figure it out. And then the practice hall has a volleyball thing, so which is different from the main gym. You know, I mean, it's the real thing, you know. I'm like, how did you do this? And she finally says, okay, I'll tell you. I go, thank you very much, you know. Oh,
But like the
anyway.
fencing issue, everything would be clarified if we,
Well, the fencing issue, I was told, the individual came up and said, well, we've been out there.
well, they
doing
have
it,
been
we haven't."
fixing it and ordering parts, but, you know, that's where, if there was a better agreement, we would all be on the same page.
Well, I have a question too, another fundraising idea. Why don't we do like Lavernia does with their Little League fields and sell advertising and buy padded instead of cyclone fencing in the back?
That's
Over
Little
the-
League though. Little League is the one that sells the advertisements and
Mhm.
has the money. They have
Yes, they're
the
in
money, from what I understand.
But see, that goes back again,
They
when
do that.
I
And that's in
volunteered
the agreement.
to get the lawyer to do a null and void of the contract,
Yeah.
and then let us sit
See, they
down.
And they manage their money on what, which they do have upkeep, I mean, they do have things, but that goes to them.
But they're not using it though. They're not doing it. They're not taking advantage of it. They're not.
Well, we're 18 minutes over my goal for 1 hour
There you
meeting,
go.
so we'll knock off the conversation on the 3B.
Did we approve that we're gonna do the little flyer,
Oh,
Do
no.
you want me to work on the flyer
just to
before we?
wrap that little issue
I
up?
motion we
Yeah,
work
I
on the
think-
flyer for the Easter, ACON.
I have one clarifying question. Do you want something that's just a who we are, or do you want something with maybe some survey questions at the bottom? They can maybe come drop off up here, or I don't know.
Or you could put on there, do we have like a link on the city's website?
Or an email address.
Yes, I mean, is
Right,
there a link on
that
there?
would be good.
Yeah, that would be
Andy did
awesome.
tell me that it would be okay if we got with their webmaster.
That would be a link, and if somebody would make a suggestion, they could go on
If you
there.
can get me that, then I'll put
Yeah.
that on there for any comments or suggestions.
Okay.
Even cards at the.
Okay, we have a motion, I have a second.
I'll say-
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Unanimous? So once you spend all your money, then we'll figure out what we're gonna pay you for doing it.
It
And
won't
when,
cost
and when you
me.
do look at it, if you would,
I have,
a letterhead, and maybe something that we could shrink down, and I'll try to do business cards for us.
I don't think I'm gonna have time to create a letterhead necessarily, just because of my work schedule right now
Okay.
before this event. But I do agree that we need to do that prior to next event. This is probably just gonna be more of a flyer.
Because as we keep moving on, then what I would ask you to do probably next meeting or the meeting after, would be to create a generic, dear sir, ma'am,
Yeah.
whatever, you know, our plea sheet is gonna go out to the corporations throughout the community, maybe even San Antonio. Because even I'm thinking, maybe we can go back and talk to the pond pub, not pond pub, what's it called? The pond, Raskeller, it's over there in San Antonio, there's one up on Line Rose, but he does a lot, he scores a lot. He's got one there on the Broadway, just past the Highfalutin HEB. And then he's got one up on Sonterra. Okay. Did you get a chance to read the bylaws?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you have your comments that I can collate them? When I sent the email, did everybody get the email that I attached there?
I didn't do my homework, I admit it.
Okay.
I didn't really find anything that was, except that we gotta find, now, Bill was saying before, now we have to find out where we stand with the open act and all that stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
that'll be the only thing that I can say, that we have to find that out, and then,
Eliminated weekend.
yeah. And,
Well, just going through the rationale on the paragraph, the second paragraph, I didn't see why we would need two directors from the Parks and Recreation Department, so I just said include one, got rid of all the other stuff.
Where are you?
oh, okay,
On the
yeah.
second paragraph, 1.02.
Yeah.
Instead of the or more, you got rid of the or more.
Yeah, got rid of the or more, because whoever put the either the Parks and Recreation Departments, I don't believe there's two departments, I think there's one. Then I got rid of the city county, it should be city council. May appoint a non-voting council liaison person. As far as I care, that's the president's responsibility to articulate in front of the city council. And then I guess that'll be a monthly type deal, so I got rid of that last sentence. And then just looking at the formatting on 103, I changed the 1, 2, and 3 to A, B, and C. Because that's the way the format's worded back.
And I took out the word either, like when, on that 102.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Right.
did that
Yeah.
too.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. And then at the bottom, adopted, and once I get it printed and sent it back out, y'all all agree to it, and we'll put that on the agenda for next meeting. We'll approve them, and then I'll make sure when I talk to Andy tomorrow, it's okay, we can do that, because the charter itself, or the foundation itself says that we can modify it on our own. And that's the way our charter.
Okay, there's another thing too, that, I guess it's not even mentioned here and stuff, but, you know, like, I don't know how big of a deal. If we have to follow the Open Acts Act, then that means that every one of us have to take a course in that. When I was in the 4A board the first time, they gave me a CD to go home, or a DVD, or the DVD, to go home and to watch it, and it just,
Yeah.
and all I had to do was say, yes, I watched it and I understand it, and that was it. And I went on record as saying, you know, I know about the Open Act. But,
The biggest warning I'll give everybody is that it's okay for me to shotgun like I did with this, but when, like, if y'all had gone through and used a different color and coordinated on the package itself, don't send it back to all, because that would be an unofficial meeting. And I need to get some clearance on this, that just like if we show up, if all of us put our dirty bucks on and go out there, you know, we're ready to paint, scrape, do whatever, do we have to say that that's a meeting?
No,
Or not?
excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt you, Doug. I'd actually had some clarification, I've done some research on it, and then clarified my relationship with Christopher Hugg. You can all show up at a singular event as long as you're not making policy changes. And if you're going to sit, and if you're going to reply all towards an email, as long as you're not talking anything that's substantive policy or anything that's going forward that will be an official action of the Parks Foundation, then it's not an open meetings violation. However, if you are conducting official business, then it is a violation.
Like a review of the Word document of our bylaws.
Right, that would be an open
Yeah.
meetings
So
violation.
we've got to do that. I deleted entirely 606 because previous in the 2.06 spells out basically the same thing, not as many words.
You eliminated 606.
606, rules and procedures. And then whenever it comes, when we get it all back done, we'll change the date of the adoption, my name. And I need to find out from Andy because the one that we have indicates that there was some kind of seal. So I don't know if that's a
Yes.
notary seal, I don't know if Andy's got a city manager seal, or what actually has.
It probably has to be notarized.
Is it a sticky that sticks on there, or is it a, what is the seal? Go with it. At any time, y'all have a question, answer, if you're really pushing, we need to get the director together, remember, you're authorized to call for a special meeting anytime you want to get with it. There's a little training guide. One of my previous commanders used a quarterly, just on a regular piece of bond paper calendar. I don't know if I can find it again, but it was generic, and all you had to do was put the month. When you went through there, and obviously February, you cross off 31, 30, 29, except for leap year. But we need some kind of calendar. We need to start putting some goals out, target-wise. We need to figure out how we can start getting some money. Because without money, we'll be free labor or what have you.
And as he said, we need to get all of our
Access.
I will.
first.
Hopefully I get that in the morning.
We're like walking in mud right now. Uphill.
We have to figure out if we wanna have small events, how many small events, space them out, or we wanna have one big event, and what would we do for that big event? I mean, takes planning.
There's gonna be a lot of research, no matter what it is, you're gonna have to figure out what our end costs are gonna be. If we can cover, like right now with $4,000, we already know that unless you can remedy the fine that the city's already paid on their behalf.
You may talk to Andy about incorporating onto the city website, like a parks website where we can put parks events, like little events, like if the Little League is having a tournament or things like that, so that we can start getting the community more involved too. Because I think the first thing to build up our events that we may have later is gonna be community awareness. And then seeing that we're actually doing something. And we have like we have a phenomenal website that is so underutilized, it's pathetic. So you can't find anything you need to find there. So we can see if maybe they can create a parks
Wanna be the
page or,
Foundation webmaster?
no. I think fundraising would keep me busy. But, I mean, it's something we can all kind of, maybe even make it so people can go in and plug in their own event, I don't know, make it interactive or something, I don't know.
Well, the next meeting will be the 17th. Does the 6 o'clock hour work out for you folks, or do we need to move it?
I'm still good. I'm flexible unless somebody else wants it a little different. Is it okay with other members? Are you okay with 6 or a little later? Okay.
And with the exception, I don't have Alex's contact information, but at that first meeting, they gave us that sideways sheet paper that's got the points of contact.
Yes.
So what I'll probably do is just go ahead and redo that on another and put Alex's contact information on there and shotgun that out to you too. But if you've got a question about anything that we need to do, you have my permissions as the president. If you need to talk to Alex, for Pete's sake, call Alex. I'll find out, he's probably at the Little League again tonight, since that's what he was doing that last Wednesday. But don't hesitate, don't think that we've gotta have everybody on the same sheet of music at the time. If you need information, please, by all means, go get it. Agenda items the same way. I picked on Michelle after the first meeting, and I said, you know, I just can't see writing the C and A and stuff like that. If you got agenda items, fire it off to her. We have to have it in and posted 72 hours unless I can find out for sure if we don't have to comply with the open meetings. Which means that by close of business on Friday, that'll have to be in, because I wouldn't think that the city secretary would come in on Sunday to post it to get the 72 hours. And you can put your name down at the bottom instead of hers and sign it. And all I did was just forward her a PDF file, and she prints it and puts it out there, and then gets it to these folks.
Okay.
But anytime you have an agenda item that you need to get in there, great. I have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.